Shalom. As the jester in the court, I feel appropriate to talk today about the Mormon fixation with masturbation. I found articles on this. I didn't realize they existed. Here was a nice article. Talks about the evolution of the Mormon position. It'd be interesting to understand why Joseph wouldn't speak on the subject. Brigham didn't speak on the subject. First Vision or Moroni vision accounts may be tied to it. With the Moroni accounts, he supposedly had his fourth vision in the daytime in the field, and he got tired. And I think Alvin and Joseph were roommates in their small cabin. And I was like, "Oh, you're up late again." Like there might be something there. These comments are hilarious. We have shame. So there was some article here. Historical development. There's a Wikipedia page on it. Silence. Secular conformity. Counter-revolution. I think of the 1960s. So Joseph clearly was doing something that was innovative in the domain of sexuality. What it was exactly, I don't think we understand. Turned into plural marriage or polygamy under Brigham. There's a lot of people debating whether he actually practiced plural marriage or polygamy. But there was some sexual innovation going on. And what's funny is in the 1960s, the University of Utah was run by the Mormon Church, basically. Neil Maxwell was there as like a dean of students or something. And they pulled all their money out of the University of Utah. And that's when they started pumping the money into BYU, is because of this topic. Mark E. Peterson. Mark Edward Peterson. Does he have the word for masturbation in his name as an anagram, as a joke? I have a friend that was looking to join a church, and so I went to a bunch of churches with him. He met with the missionaries. He on his own read this book, The Miracle of Forgiveness, and said, "There's no way I'm joining that church." So here's the definition of masturbation according to etymology.com. And so onanism was the story of Tamar. So Judah had married a non-Jewish girl. You can't say Jewish, a non-Hebrew girl. And remember, Exodus 19:6 says, "a peculiar nation." And specifically, the line of Judah had to be the bloodline of Yeshua. And so his firstborn went to Tamar and died somehow. The secondborn, who was to take, Deuteronomy 25, I think, to take the role of the brother in giving seed to the woman, he enjoyed his time with the woman and spilled his seed on the ground. Onan was his name, and that was onanism. And he died, and the third brother's like, "I don't want anything to do with this." So Tamar dresses up like a harlot, and Judah, the father, gives her the seed that she demands, she requires. And in the Old Testament, they said that if you had issue, pollution, which is the next thing we'll get to, if semen extracted from your body, you were unclean until sunset and had to wash yourself. It didn't say it's your whole body or what. And it said if you got it on any clothes, you had to wash all those clothes. And so people are trying to tie it to the word stupid. There's all sorts of things about getting hairy hands as myths of the past. And here's the oldest word we have is masturbari. And this is the problem with the world we live in. Philology isn't complete. Masterbari came from somewhere. Where did it come from? So you look up masturbation in 1823. Dictionary, it doesn't exist. Joseph might have heard of this word, but it was from French. Very unlikely. So the word pollution is a defilement tied to this. In medicine, the involuntary emission of semen in sleep. So self-pollution isn't nocturnal emission. So anyway, it was evolving. So what is the word? Where does the word in Latin, masturbari, come from? Bari in Latin, in Hebrew, means to be fat or fattened. It comes from baras, which is fat. And so you look up flesh, basar. So look at the difference between bari and basar. You have these two letters are the same, but you have an S, a sh in between. So we don't know the true etymology of this language. I haven't looked up the Hebrew yet, or the Egyptian yet.
Strong's H1277. Bari. Bari.
To be fattened, fat of flesh. Bari. And Ezekiel 23 goes into some sexual sins of a woman. And some of these words are interesting if you dig in to these words. So there is some sort of sin with girding up your loins, which seems odd to me. I'm going to do another video later on the dildo mentioned in the Bible and swingers likely mentioned in the Bible. Taznut. Nut. I'm not going to take the time to look that up yet. Nefez. Nephi. Nefez means soul. Your soul. She discovered her nakedness. Gala, Taznut, Gala, Erva. Her soul was alienated from her. Maybe she was addicted. And so here's flesh in a different form. And she doted upon the paramours whose flesh is as the flesh of asses, and whose issue is like the issue of horses. So I have bari, which is kind of fat-fleshed, and basar bari are a little bit different. When we look at the next word, secret.
Strong's H4565. Mistar. Mistar.
Is that the Master Mayhem word? Mistar. And notice, you're putting an M at the front of a word, which is going to completely change the vowels. So this is derived from this word. So if you're going to notice, this word has those three characters, and it's shakthar.
Strong's H5641. Sathair. Sathair.
To hide, to conceal oneself. Mistar. Secretly. Secretly fattening the flesh. And there's an Arabic word for that. I think I covered all that. And that Arabic word is called joking. When you read this is all going to be the PR marketing stuff about how to enlarge one's manhood. The stuff written 20 years ago online was more about, so length and girth might be supposed benefits, but it was about stamina that to appease the partner, that she could also experience pleasure. So, what's the etymology of joking? I tried to look it up. I couldn't figure it out. It was this word.
לזרוח.
Lizwach, which means to shine, I guess. But here in shine, I didn't see Lizwach. I didn't even see a lot of L's. That L and that L are similar. Hold on. Something changed. So, the word masterbari in Latin comes from to secretly fatten the flesh. And what we're going to learn is Joseph saw something, and there was some sexual innovation to what he saw and did, and that's been squashed for whatever reasons. Shame, guilt, isn't that the primary rationale? Control, shame, guilt. The idea of walking in the Garden of Eden is there's no shame or guilt. So this is part of the false world we live in. In ancient America, they describe these people walking around like the Egyptians. Walk like an Egyptian. Naked as could be. Not even a loincloth. Not even a covering. Some of the women would wear something around their belt, but they wouldn't cover anything. And every hair on their body, except on their head, was removed. Very Egyptian-like. And they had no shame. So imagine you're Nafi arriving at a place where you see all these naked people running around, and you have to deal with that internally. The Psalm of Nephi. You're dealing with that. But does that change your understanding of your own religion? Nafi went native, if you read carefully. Native in the sense that he still respected God, but he understood his place. Isaiah 5. The place for the line of Adam was the vineyard, was the vine. It's a young vine. It stands better under a tree to give shade to those under that tree, to give fruit to those under that tree. The tree is stronger than the vine. The vine's job is not to strangle the tree or to morph the tree into a vine. The vine is just to offer fruit and shade and let the tree be the tree. So what that means is if you're the palm tree of Egypt, you can still be Egypt. Just recognize the Most High God. Look at Daniel with his interactions with Nebuchadnezzar. Just recognize the Most High God, accept him, go into the waters of baptism, and live your life as a tree. Just live a moral life. You don't have to become Jewish or Christian or Mormon. And Nephi learns that. If you read carefully the legend of Nephi, first and second chapter, he recognizes that he's just a pawn in a bigger game. The Hebrews are pawns, the Christians are pawns, etc. The point is that every tree has a right to be a tree. Whether you're a tree of Africa or a tree of India or China, you have a right to live your culture. All you have to do is recognize the Most High God. Shalom.